All right, Ms. Bakawa, we're going to go ahead and get started. And we're going to pray and then we'll get into our lesson. We're going to have a little different format today because I want to emphasize a point to you all so that when the feast day rolls around, you will clue in. You'll start cluing in now. As we pray, Baruch Hashem Yahuwah Eloheinu Malek Halam, we say Todah Rabbah, Father, for all that you've done. Your loving compassion and your mercy and your kindness has extended to many generations, and you have even extended it to us because we are not deserving of your goodness, nor even of your presence. But we're thankful, Father, that because of an oath that you made, that you continue to bring us forward. You continue to stir our hearts and minds towards your word and your Torah, or your Torot, which is your instructions. We ask you, Father, to reach out and touch those under the sound of my voice, and everyone that will engage in this video in the future. I pray that you give them the necessary tools that they need to accomplish what you have purpose for their life. And I pray, Father, that they will be obedient and their hearts will be stirred. Father, continue to mold and make us and shape us into who you would have us to be. And we thank you and we say Todah Rabbah for all of your goodness. In the name of Mashiach Yahusha, Hallel to Yahuwah. Amen. All right, Ms. Picasso, we're going to talk about hearing. The two hearings. That's kind of, what I decided to call this particular lesson. And it's nothing new. It's just coming from just a little different angle. So we went over last week preparing to hear. We know that when we talk about faith, where in Romans 10:17, so then faith or belief comes by hearing. So to engage in faith is by hearing. And it's a specific hearing. It's the hearing of the word of Elohim. Then in Hebrews 11:1, faith is the substance of things expected, the proof of what is not seen. So the thing that we're engaging in is our hearing and not what we see. Because we don't walk by sight, we walk by faith. And if you're walking by faith, you can't be locked in on what you're seeing. Because often I tell you that Yahuwah is not trying to change your situation. He's not trying to change what you see around you. He's trying to change a part that you can't see, and that's you. Sometimes we don't look into the mirror of the word and see a reflection. He's trying to change you. And most times people can't see themselves, where they're at, what they're going through, why they're facing what they're facing. We have a tendency to always want to, pull Hasatan and point the finger at him, when many times it's something that's being changed in us. Now, the Father can use Hasatan as a tool to facilitate these changes, But the real part is he's trying to change you. So we need to make sure we lock in that without hearing, there is no faith or belief. And without the word of Elohim, there is no hearing. Now, I want you to notice I added a word out here at the end. Because this particular, the word of Elohim, hearing, faith, work. And we're going to touch on this a little bit today. Because there has to be two different things that are one or the other is facilitating our hearing and our action. We're not in the middle. And if you're in the middle, then that means you're on the other side, the bad side. So let's talk about it a little bit more. Okay, let's look at 2. Now, we have to engage that in the garden, Elohim planted 2 trees. But he also put the man in the garden. You can go to Genesis 2 and notice I don't have any text written up there. I did that on purpose because I want to emphasize not you seeing the words, but you hearing the words and learning how to process what you hear. So if you were to go to Genesis chapter 2, verse 8, and Elohim planted a garden in Eden and to the east, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground Elohim made every tree grow that was pleasant to the sight and good for food, with the tree of life in the midst of the garden and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So there were 2 trees there. 2 trees, 2 choices, 2 paths, 2 seeds. So you have to figure out when the word of Elohim enters your hearing, what are you using to process that word? Because you can have 2 people hear the same word, same instruction, and get 2 different actions. Or an action and a non-action. So something has to be facilitating, processing. We call it, we want to say the brain, the mind. But something is there processing this information. Something is there that tells you how to regard the word that you receive. Some regard it with reverence. Some regard it with contempt. Okay, now notice when you go to verses 16 through 18 of Genesis 2, he tells them that they can eat of every tree in the garden, but he tells them, do not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for in the day that you eat of it, you shall surely die. And Elohim said it's not good. Then he gave the man that command. And he saw the man was alone. He created the man to help me. So my question is, how did he process that? Because now another factor was thrown into the picture. He was given a command, and he relayed that information on. So how are you regarding what the Father has written and what he has spoken? Now, our first gravitation is towards, oh, I'm obeying everything. I regard it with reverence. I'm humble. But when you start analyzing your action, your speech, your interaction, there seems to be a disconnect because these things aren't playing out fully what he's commanded in our lives. So we have to receive instructions, be able to follow instructions, carry out those instructions, even if the instructions defy how we think it should be. Because we got two trees here. There are two things that can grow in the inside of you. The question is, which one are you eating from? Which one are you ingesting? Which one has given your ruach nutrition? Because that nutritional value that's flowing through your body is going to be what's influencing how you hear and how you carry out what he has spoken. So let's look, or let's hear, because remember, we're doing something a little different today. I want you to hear what Yahuwah has to say. What he told Israel over in Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 34 through 40. And Yahuwah heard the voice of your words and was wroth and took an oath. Now look, the Father took an oath. Now you know if Yahuwah took an oath, he's going to carry out that oath. Saying, not one of these men of this evil generation. Now, make sure you get this correct. He didn't kill out the whole generation. He killed out the men of that generation because they were the ones that were responsible for executing what he had commanded. He had told them to go spy out the land. They came back with an evil report. They rebelled. He had already told them the land was good, but they didn't believe what they heard because of what they saw. Okay, did you catch that? They didn't believe what they heard from Yahuwah because of what they saw in the land. Make sure you don't fall victim to what you're seeing as opposed to what you're hearing from him. Not one of these men of this evil generation shall see the good land of which I swore to give your fathers, except Caleb. He shall see it, and to him and his children I give the land which he walked on, because he followed Yahuwah completely. Okay, so there was no, he heard what the Father said. They stood up against the 10 that brought the evil report and let them know that if Yahuwah promised it, we're able. but the 10 prevail. So let's keep going. And Yahuwah was enraged with me for your sake, saying, you do not go in there either. Yahusha, the son of Nun, who stands before you, he shall go in there. Strengthen him, for he shall cause Israel to inherit. And your little ones and your children. That's why I said you got to make sure you're delivering proper information. Who you said are for a prey, who today have no knowledge of good and evil. I want you to hold on to that. They are going there, and to them I give it, and they are to possess it. But you, turn and take your journey into the wilderness by the way of the sea of reeds. So, how you're processing what the Father says. You're hearing it. All of them heard the same thing. And this is what I'm getting after. All of them heard the same thing was given to them about what he would do in giving them the land. 10 of them took the whole congregation and swayed them one way. 2 of them remained steadfast that he's able. So you've got to make sure that you hear him and that you process what you heard correctly. Because if you don't, you will find yourself in a dilemma. And when you're in that dilemma, people tend to join dilemmas. Everybody wants to join into that and boo-hoo and cry. But stand strong in his word. It's my encouragement to you. Okay, so we're still talking about the 2. So let's jump over to Deuteronomy 30, verse 11. We're going to start at verse 11. For this command which I am commanding you today, it is not too hard for you, nor is it far off. It is not in the heavens to say, who shall ascend into the heavens for us, or bring it to us, or cause us to hear it, so that we do it. Nor is it beyond the sea to say, who shall go over the seas for us, and bring it to us, and cause us to hear it, so that we do it. Notice at the end of those questions, there's a do it involved. Not just hearing, but there's a do it. For the word is very near you, in your mouth, in your heart, to do it. See, I have set before you today life and good, death and evil. In that I am commanding you today to love Yahuwah your Elohim, to walk in his way. See, this is one of the problems that we often see, whether it involves camps or other communities, or they're not walking in his way. They've taken what is written and they've given it a twist for their agenda. And many times their agenda matches where they came from, what they've experienced and went through. That's why you see a lot of mixture of some of the various doctrines out here. Instead of pursuing, okay, what is Yahuwah saying? They have a mixture of what I'm saying and what Yahuwah is saying. And then they feeding that to the people. And the people don't know any better. So they gobbling it up, thinking, oh man, this is the best thing since sliced bread. But it's actually poison. So I would tell any teacher out here, you can never go wrong sticking to the basics or the foundation. Because when you start looking at it, many of our people lack foundation. They lack substance to really stand on. You know, and I'm talking about, you know, solid substance in the word. But we have people that are constantly driven by they're tossed and driven by every wind and every doctrine. And they'll invent doctrines. I mean, this is what you're gonna see. And then people flock to it. But when you hold up the banner saying, let's live righteous, let's treat each other righteously, let's operate in righteous judgment. You know, people, well, don't judge me. Well, no, I'm not going to judge you according to my standard, but the Father has set a standard that I must uphold and that I must use to execute judgment because he's commanded it. But we want to live in a society and we want to be where we're not accountable. Let every soul be subject to the higher power. He's put leaders in place. Don't want to listen to the leaders. You want to do your own thing, expect to get a righteous result. Okay, let me keep on reading. Nobody out there hearing me today. Okay, he's told us. Okay, and I'm going to start again where what he told us to. See, I have set before you today life and good, death and evil. In that I am commanding you today to love Yahuwah Elohim, to walk in his way, to guard his commands. Notice everything is about him, his laws, his right rulings. And you shall live and increase, and Yahuwah Elohim shall bless you in the land which you go to possess. But if your heart turns away, so you can have an ear that heard it, but your heart can turn away from what you heard. For whatever purpose, whether it was trauma, whether it was your past, whether it's your present, your heart can turn away even though you heard the same word. And thank you for those that are confirming Mori Yesharon and Naamana. Thank you for confirming that you hear me. I appreciate that. But if your heart turn away and you do not obey, because there's a choice there, and shall be drawn away and shall bow down to other mighty ones and serve them. Because remember, this tree right here, there's a mighty one behind the knowledge of this tree. There is a mighty one there. I have declared to you today that you shall certainly perish and you shall not prolong your days in the land which you are passing over to the Jordan to enter and possess. I have called the heavens and the earth as a witness today against you. I have set before you life and death, the blessing and the curse. Therefore, you shall choose life, so that you may live, both you and your seed, to love Yahuwah your Elohim, to obey his voice, to cling to him. For he is your life and the length of your days, to dwell in the land which Yahuwah swore to your fathers, to Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, to give them. So this is why I'm emphasizing, as we go into the Feast of Trumpets, or Yom Teruah, the Feast of Blowings, or the Feast of Sound, we need to make some adjustments to properly hear. We need to go from simply singing a song. We need to hear what we're singing and make sure that what we're singing, we're walking in. We need to make sure our worship hits a different dimension of not simply just trying to connect, but trying to hear on a different level. Now, let's look here. Let's talk about the next phase, because when we talk about the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life, we got two men involved. The old man and the new man. Now, I'm going to start you from a point. For this particular area, we're gonna go to Romans, because Shaul, I believe, he lays this out for us so that we can get a picture. But remember, the connection is back. The old man is connected to something. The new man is connected to something. Then if you're trying to connect these two together, then you got chaos. You're going to have confusion. So let's go to Romans chapter 6, verse 1. What then shall we say? Shall we continue in sin? That happens to involve the old man. Connecting back to what? The tree of the knowledge of good and evil. They're all on the same team. Shall we continue in sin to let favor increase? Let it not be. How shall we who died to sin still live in it? Or do you know that as many of us as were immersed into Messiah Yahushua were immersed into his death? So we're going to start from the point of immersion, because we're talking about getting the new man, burying the old man, putting on the new man. We were therefore buried with him through immersion into death, that as Messiah was raised from the dead by the esteem of the Father, so also we shall walk in the newness of life. For if we have come to be grown together in the likeness of his death, we shall be also of the resurrection, knowing this, that our old man was impaled or crucified with him, so that the body of sin might be rendered powerless to serve sin no more. And if we die with Messiah, we believe that we shall also live with him, knowing that Messiah, having been raised from the dead, dies no more. Death no longer rules over him. For in that he died to sin once for all, that in that he lives to Elohim. So you also reckon yourself to be dead indeed to sin, but alive to Elohim in Messiah Yahusha our Master. Therefore, do not let sin reign in your mortal body to obey it in its desires. Neither present your members as instruments of unrighteousness to sin, but present yourself to Elohim as being alive from the dead, and your members as instruments of righteousness to Elohim. For sin shall not rule over you, for you are not under the law, but under favor. Okay, so once you got immersed, now some people probably, if you're out there, you're still on the fence about making a decision about getting immersed. It was, you saw the Messiah come on the scene. He was immersed to fulfill righteousness. You saw his disciples get immersed. You saw the apostles immersing. Immersion was a functional part of this new man process. So my question is, if it's such a functional part, why do we stand on the fence whether we should be immersed or not? I'm not talking to those that are already immersed. I'm specifically talking, there's someone out there that's on the fence about it. When it was time, when I knew it was time for me to be immersed, it didn't matter. I had been immersed before in other names. I wanted to be immersed in the covenant. I made that phone call and said, "Hey, I'm ready to do this. Let's take this ride." I got it done, and I'm sure others here have flown in or found someone that would do it properly and got it done because it was a priority. Because you want to make sure that you have everything working in your favor. Okay, let's go to Romans. We're still in Romans, 8th chapter, verse 13. For if you live according to the flesh, you're going to die. That's the old man. But if by the Spirit you put to death the deeds of the body, you shall live. For as many as are led by the Spirit of Elohim, these are the sons of Elohim. See, this new man comes with the new spirit. It's renewed in you. But you can't desire and want this new man and operate in this new man, holding on to the old one. He gives you a clean slate at your day of immersion. You come up out of the water, a new creation. From then on, you need to start patterning yourself after the new man. But I can say, I've seen countless people still holding on to the old man and the old ways and how they function. But let's keep going, because the Ruach is very important in this new man process. And if you're going to hear correctly, you need all the tools. Because when his word comes in, which man is processing it? It's going to be whichever the strong man of the house is. Whatever is the dominant force in your body, whether it's the new nature or the old nature, that's going to be what processes that word. So you can pretty much tell which man is operating on when the actions come out the other end. You can see which man is processing. But I wanted to, since Shaul mentioned about the Ruach, the spirit of Elohim, I wanted to take you back to what Mashiach told us in St. John, or Yehuka 9, 16th chapter, starting at 7th verse. But I say the truth to you, it is better for you that I go away. For if I do not go away, the helper shall not come to you at all. But if I go away, he shall come to you. And having come, he shall convict, listen to this, the world concerning sin, and concerning righteousness, and concerning judgment. Concerning sin, because they do not believe me. Concerning righteousness, because I go to my Father and you see me no more. So now, because he's going away, they're now going to have to guard his commandments, and he's not right there to per se hold their hand in the flesh. They need something to guide them, something to rely on. And concerning judgment, because the ruler of this world is judged. I still have many words to say to you, but you are not able to bear them now. But when he comes, the Spirit of truth, he shall guide you into all the truth. For he shall not speak for himself, but whatever he hears, he shall speak. He shall announce to you what is to come. He shall esteem me, for he shall take of what is mine and announce it to you. Powerful stuff. He has given us all the necessary tools to overcome. Man, you should, your Ruach should leap for joy, because he's giving you the necessary tools. So let's look at the processing. Because your mindset, where you're reaching these decisions, something is guiding your decisions. Something is steering your actions. And it's a pattern back. Old mind, old man, tree of the knowledge of good and evil. New mind, new man, tree of life. But if you're going to put the old man and the old mind away, there's a certain attitude, a certain discipline, a certain path you have to follow. This is nothing new. You know, it's just like, if you say you're going to lose weight, You can't eat everything and sit on the couch and take a magic pill and expect the weight to just fall off. It's going to require effort. And this is, now I'm telling you, this is just my opinion. I think we have, when it comes to effort, we have a lot of lazy Hebrews that don't want to put forth the effort that it takes to change. They want it a quick fix. They want a Band-Aid to just cover. But if you've ever seen, a real deep wound, and I've seen a lot of them in my time, just from living. Even though they might suture it up, the healing takes place on the inside and comes to the out. If it, I've seen where someone had their stomach cut open and the staples burst and they just started bleeding, and the doctor basically, gave instruction. Hey, what we have to do, we have to pack gauze in it. Every day we got to change the gauze, because the best way for this to heal is from the inside out. And what I'm finding out is we'll change our garments. We'll put head wraps on. We'll put tzitzits on. We'll put, have on nice linen. But we won't do the necessary work to change what needs to be changed on the inside. Changing the outside, oh man, decked out, looking good, flowing good, smelling good. When I sashay into the sanctuary or into the assembly, the sisters are dropping left and right. But if they only knew what was on the inside. See, that is where the effort really is going to take the effort to change you. And if you need help with that, I got a series. The Challenge to Change Me series is still out there on YouTube. But we've got to put forth that effort. And the first effort is going to be in our mind, how we make decisions, how we view things, how we react to things, how we interact with things. Man, and that's, this is, you'll never stop with this. This is an ongoing process, because as you continue to grow, you'll see and get closer to Elohim, you'll see more things in your character that you'll be like, oh man, if I'm this close. Because the closer you get to him, the more light that's shined on you. So it causes you to see more things. But let's read here in Philippians chapter 2, verse 5. For let this mind be in you, which was also in Messiah, Yahushua, who being in the form of Elohim did not regard equality with Elohim as a matter to be grasped, but emptied himself. Emptied himself. Now, how many of us have actually emptied ourselves? Where we humbled ourselves to the point that he could rebuild us. Or did we hold on to some pride? Or did we hold on to some stubbornness? Or did we hold on to some rebellion? That at the key time, it comes out. And look what he did. Taking the form of a servant, and came to be in the likeness of men. And having been found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, death even of a stake. Therefore, since Messiah suffered in the flesh, arm yourself also with the same mind. If you're going to change, you're going to suffer. Because you're going to have to resist your own impulses, resist your own tendencies, resist who you used to be, and make the decision to be who he wants you to be, that new man. Normally I would have cussed you out, but I'm not that person anymore. So I'm just going to bless Elohim and go my merry way. It's hard work. I'm telling you, it's yes, and Maury Yesharon, that's right. It's hard. But if you really want this, you're going to put in the work. Therefore, since Messiah suffered in the flesh, arm yourself also with the same mind, because he who has suffered in the flesh has ceased from sin. So that he no longer lives the rest of his life in the flesh for the lust of men, but according to the desire of Elohim. Powerful stuff. Man, I could go on all day about that. But let's just keep. We got a few more little things here to go over, and we'll be finished. So, the thing I want to show you is that the mindset, how you think, when Mashiach came, what was he against? Yes, their teachings, their mindset. They thought they were privileged. I'm Hebrew. I'm an Israelite. But if your mindset isn't according to the word of Elohim, none of that really makes a difference. You fall in the same category as those that were in the wilderness, that were rebellious, that were stubborn, that didn't make it to the promised land. So what does being a Hebrew mean then? What does being an Israelite mean then if you're not going to keep the word of Elohim? So listen to this discourse in St. John, the 8th chapter, starting at the 39th verse. They answered and said to him, Abraham is our father. And what did Yahushua say? Yahushua said to them, if you were Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham. See, this work thing is not only do you have to hear what Elohim has said, what he's spoken, what he's written, you have to do it. There's a work required. But now you seek to kill me, a man who has spoken to you the truth, which I heard from Elohim. Abraham did not do this. He did. Man. You do the works of your father. Then they said to him, we were not born of whoring. We have one father, Elohim. Now notice what they look at what they did. They tried to take the focus off of themselves. How many people do that? Huh? when you try to steer them in the right direction, they want to talk about what everybody else is doing, but don't want to correct their action. They even want to try to look what they did to Mashiach. Oh, you born a whoring. False accusations. Yahushua said to them, if Elohim were your father, you would love me, for I came forth from Elohim and am here. For I have not come of myself, but he sent me. Why do you not know what I say? Because you are unable to hear my word. Because they had another word in their ear that was being processed. You are of your father the devil. The desires of your father you wish to do. He was a murderer from the beginning and has not stood in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaks the lie, he speaks of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And because I speak the truth, you do not believe me. Who of you proves me wrong concerning sin? And if I speak the truth, why do you not believe me? He who is of Elohim hears the word of Elohim. Therefore, if you do not hear, because you are not of Elohim. Now, let's take this to heart. When people don't want to hear the word of Elohim, you have to draw the same conclusion that Mashiach drew. When they don't want to hear it, it's because they are not of Elohim. Tough words, but it's true. Now, I've given this, I'm gonna read it, but I'm not gonna go into any detailed lesson about it, because we've done a lesson on this. But I think that this is the crust of how we have to learn. And you're going to be so familiar with this, you probably can quote it as I'm reading it. From Proverbs, the 3rd chapter, starting at the 1st verse. My son, do not forget my Torah. Let your heart watch over my commands. For length of days and long life and peace they add to you. Let not loving commitment and truth forsake you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the table of your heart. Thus finding favor and good insight in the eyes of Elohim and man. Now we've taught on this. The Mores have taught on this. I've taught on this. I pray that you get this. Trust in Yahuwah with all your heart. Not just a portion of it. All of it. Lean not to your own understanding. Okay, that's what's tripping us up. Lean into our own understanding. We've covered it before. What's your understanding? Your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts. He don't want you to lean to those. Someone hurt you, okay? Lean to him. How does he say take care of it? How does he say resolve it? What scripture does he give for resolution? But if you lean to your own understanding, your tongue is going to resolve it. Your actions are going to show, and your actions won't be a reflection of him. It'll be all you. It'll be the old man. Know him in all your ways. Some translation says acknowledge him in all your ways. So even if I've been disappointed, if I've been hurt, if I've been wounded, even in that I have to acknowledge him and how he takes care of it. When you read the Psalms, you can see some of the things that the psalmists go through that were heart-wrenching, and how the wicked were treating and doing them. Look at how they resolved it. Look at their prayers. Look at their interaction with the Father in the scripture. That clues you in of how you need to take care of your problems or your incidents or whatever's going on with you. And pray tell, when too many people, when things happen, if you get too many people in your business, it's a recipe for disaster. That's why just take care of it according to scripture, and it'll be great. Because people want to jump in and then they start a whole new, just a whole new fire is kindled. It'd be like, okay, we resolved this. Why is this still hanging around? And he makes your path straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear Yahuwah and turn away from evil. So, how are you processing? We're gonna wind this down. How are you processing? What man, what mind in you is receiving that word? Have you killed the old man? Have you crucified him? Have you suppressed him? Have you brought him under subjection? Because I'm here to tell you that if you feed the old man, if you feed the old mind, if you eat from that tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which involves your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts, it's going to wake up that old man. And you're going to have some problems on your hand. And you think the devil's doing it. No, it's not the devil doing it. You woke up the old man. But you want to say that it's the enemy. So we've got to definitely put in the work. You want results? Put in the work. You want to be close to Elohim? You want to hear from Elohim? Humble yourself. Humble yourself. Be receptive. Become a servant. And I'm going to leave it at that. So let's pray. Oh, feast days are coming. Yom Teruah. Oh, it's going to be here before you know it. So let's get our hearts and minds right. Let's get our hearing in tune. What is he saying? What's going on? What's happening? Because The world is competing for our attention. The Father wants our attention focused on him. Father, I thank you for all that you have done. Thank you for everyone under the sound of my voice. I ask you, Father, to bring a continual blessing of your word into our life, that we're rejoicing at every point. We rejoice whether we're up, whether we're down, no matter what we're faced with, because we know you are at the helm. You're in control. I pray, Father, that those that walk in doubt, you would take them down the road of confidence. It won't be an easy road. And everything we lack, take us down those roads to help us to renew and to rebuild and to have a solid foundation. I pray for all of our mores. I pray for their wisdom. I pray for their stability. I pray for them, Father, to neither divert to the left nor the right, but to stay on course and to teach what you have appointed them to teach, and to let them teach it with conviction, and let them teach it with a firmness and a fervor like never before. Father, I thank you now. These are your people, the sheep of your pasture. Now help us to lead them beside the still rivers of water. Cause them to bring forth fruit in due season. Thank you now. In the name of Messiah Yahushua, Hallel to Yahuwah. Amen. All right, Miss Bakai, it was a little different today. Just just slides with pictures and a few words, because we want you to hear. We want you to hear. Hear what the Spirit of the Ruach says unto the assembly. All right, if you would like to join our bookmarker witnessing team, you can do so. Just go to our website, bm.hebrewfoundation.org. Get that chance. And Passover going to be here before you know it too. So you can check out our Hebrew Passover story. Is for help you to teach and train your children. It's just another tool. And if you would like to support us by your prayers. If you would like to support us through donations, you can do that also. You can just check out the online donation, which there's a button in the stream. There's also Cash App and PayPal. So these are here. They're also on the website if you are led. All right, Ms. Bakar, I want to thank you for joining in. And I am excited about where the Father's going to take you, what the Father's going to do for you. And when things seem tough, just remember, you got to put in the work. You said you wanted to be closer. How do you know what you're going through is not to bring you closer? So you got to search it out. You got to put in, even after you had, for those of us that go to the gym, work out, after we get home, those muscles are still working, still burning. Then you got a recovery, then you go back at it. So it's a continual process to get closer. It's not just, okay, I do this one day and then I'm close all the time. No, it's a continual cycle. So I pray that you have a great Shabbat, And I pray that the love of Elohim just sheds abroad in your heart like never before. So, Miss Bakar, this is Maury Madad Yahoo saying unto you, Shabbat Shalom. Let's make this the best Shabbat ever. Shabbat Shalom, Miss Bakar.